This is Deborah Atkinson, and you're listening to Flipping 50, where I address your top questions and the things you struggle with most so you can have more energy and less decision fatigue about what to eat, how to move, and you can change your thoughts to Flip 50 with the life and the energy you love in the second half. So, I don't have time to work out. Really? That's what this episode is all about. So I'm going to warn you in advance. This post is not going to sit well with you, potentially. So read or listen, depending if you're on the show notes, to this next couple of sentences carefully. If you're content to complain about not having time or energy to work out, and you truly think that on summer break or once you retire, or that it may be easier at some point for someone who doesn't live where you live, or work the kind of job you work, or have kids and a spouse, or kids and no spouse, or no spouse, no kids, be retired, be on a budget. If you think those things are truly in your way, and that it's easier for somebody not in that situation, stop reading, stop listening. This will be a waste of time, and it may truly ruffle your feathers. It may anyway. But here's my take on it. It's BS that you're in your comfort zone, and it's hard to get out of your comfort zone because that's what we say, right? That's why so many employees would have told me over the last 30 years that I'm just not comfortable with that. You know, when I might ask them to pick up the telephone and call someone who missed their appointment to come back in, somebody who wanted to cancel their membership or their personal training to find out why and how you can help them get back on the bandwagon, or who I suggested get up in front of a room and give speeches and presentations to share their knowledge. They would say, I'm just not comfortable with that. Maybe it's video, getting in front of the video camera. But here's the thing. We say it about exercise as well. We say it about going on vacation and not really wanting to be that person, at the table or ordering, or who has to stop at the grocery store because we don't want to be high maintenance because we've been trained and conditioned to be passive, to be pleasers, to get along easily doing whatever. And a few women in pursuit of more energy and their best health who aren't willing to be uncomfortable for a while and wrap their mind around the fact that discomfort is a growth. That's the key. The only time you're growing is when you're uncomfortable. But we really aren't in any kind of comfort zone now, because if you were, you wouldn't be looking for change. You wouldn't be looking for, I want to lose weight. I want to do this. Well, there's a reason you want to lose weight, or you want to get more energy, or you want to sleep better, because you are not comfortable living the life you're living. You know there's more. You don't want to settle. But what you are is in this place of incongruency. It's like, I want that, but I don't want to do the changes consistently because they're hard. Well, yep, health takes change, and change is hard. Period. End of story. Every professional woman I know, whether it's a coaching client, a speaking colleague, or a fitness professional, dreams that it will get easier when she's making more money, gets the promotion, or has her own business, doesn't have to put up with all this BS, or maybe has lost the weight. It will get easier, right? That's what we think. Guess what? No, that's not how it works. When you get to the next level and the next, every single time, it gets harder. You work harder to both get there, but then to maintain it. Are you familiar at all with the National Weight Loss Registry? It's been in existence for decades. And here's the truth about that, and the research that we know about that is if it takes X to lose weight, it takes X plus something to keep the weight off. Here's why that works. You lose weight, whether you lose muscle or you lose fat, and we tend to lose a little bit of both. We can't totally control, but you slow your metabolism. You at a lower weight, whether it's all muscle or all fat, still have a lower metabolism. That's simply math. That part is math. I would agree with that. It's the only place that I'll agree that just simply adding and subtracting, creating a deficit works. But here it's true. And it's true in every other instance as well. You've got to do more work when you get to a higher level. You didn't put it on cruise control. I mean, forget the prince. Nobody's riding in on a white horse. And when you have a bigger business, you have more bills as well as more income. You have more taxes. You have more potentially people working for you because you really can't scale and get to a bigger place without that. That's more people with questions, more emails, more phone calls, more things to go wrong because they do things right, but they do things wrong. And then you've got damage control. You have more things to do. There are kind of historically in the fitness industry, this is what we see. So personal trainers who really love the freedom and flexibility of personal training. And they love to be in charge, right? They love to be in charge, and anything they say is like gospel to the client that they're in front of at the minute or at the moment or the hour, the 30 minutes or whatever the session is. But they don't love to keep track. They don't love to record sessions, keep track of the paperwork, make sure that there's progression. They don't love standard operating procedures. They don't love tracking. How many sessions did you do? How many sessions were booked? How many did you not do? How many phone calls? How many thank you letters did you write? These are the things that behind the scenes happen in the business because we want to make sure that customers get great service and follow up. And trainers do not love that. And they also complain because generally there are a lot of models in the fitness industry. And I just tell you this to point the relativity out about what we know is true about change and comfort zones. When you want more, it never gets easier because trainers generally get a percentage. They will often work on commission. Some are salary based, but the trainers who really have initiative and want to work hard are paid on commission. But they will complain that the business owner takes too much commission and they don't give them enough because they're not thinking about turning on the electricity in the building. They're not thinking about all the advertising that actually sends them the clients that they have to work with for free. They're not thinking about the cost of the equipment that they get to use for free or the cost of the rooms and the floor space and how that all works. They just think, I'm so smart. I have so much education. I drive so much business. And so they want it all. And yet they also want to come and go in their own schedule and not answer to anybody or keep track of steps. And it never works that way. It's why a lot of trainers will always only be trainers. They will never be the boss. Or if they are, that might be the best thing for them because then they would be forced to grow and realize, oh my goodness, I didn't know what I didn't know. I didn't know how easy I had it. The other instance is, people at the front desk. Often who work the front desk, we've had some phenomenal people, don't get me wrong, but often they're woe is me, when they talk to the business owners, like, you don't get it. This is so hard. You have so much more money because you have this whole business, and they don't realize you have so much more bills and debt and reasons to lie awake at night as well. That's what happens. But when I want to point this out and bring it back to you. So all of those were analogies. You have to be better, whether you're that business owner or this person who wants to get to a higher level of fitness. Your habits have to get better. The way you spend your time has to get better. People often will ask me if I ever watch this show or that show. I'm like, no, never seen it. I rarely see movies. When the Oscars come out, I will look at, what got nominated and think, oh man, I really love to watch that. And so I'll binge watch when I have family members here over Christmas. But somebody who is super busy, whether it's in a higher level management position with a lot of people under them or they're running their own business, that is not a place that we can spend our time. That's just not in the cards. And we've traded it willingly for something more, a bigger reach, bigger impact, bigger influence. So here's what happens. Your habits have to be more consistent if you want something different, something more. The life that you have now is the cost of the life that you want. That's what it will cost you if you want to change. But you can't continue to do things like spend hours on the internet playing Candy Crush or watching Netflix late at night. Not if you want energy, great skin, clear mind, great mood the next day. If you want to stop aches and pains, you have to start sleeping better. The cost is the glass or two of wine that you want several times or more a week. You can't have both. You will choose ultimately, or you are choosing right now by not choosing. There's either a yes or a no. There's no, I'm on the fence about it. Well, no, you're not. You're choosing one of them. It's clear. So if you want to have a change, you have to change. And yes, the unknown may not be what you think. But here's the thing, it may be better. And you can always go back to the couch and watching Netflix and eating popcorn and crap. No matter where you are, you can look at everyone else, and see how much easier they have it. So I'm going to give you a second chance to bail out right now. You will not offend me if you turn this off, because I potentially may be offending you or hitting a hot button. Is this you? I mean, is it that you are saying, well, I want to be more fit, I want this, I want that, but I want my 2 or 3 glasses of wine every night. This is a part of our lifestyle. I want to eat Italian. I want to eat white pasta. I want sugar in my life, and I'm going to socialize. And when I go on vacation, I'm not going to pay any attention to what I eat. That really won't happen. If you change, you can worry less about that or feel less defensive about that, because when you feel good, you don't want to stop feeling good. That's just, you don't see it as, well, I have to eat this, or I have to diet, or I have to exercise. You actually do not want to spend a day not being in your routine, which includes eating well, starting out with a certain kind of meal, starting out with water, starting out with some movement or exercise. You will choose it, and you will defend it and anybody who gets in the way of it, because that's how good it makes you feel. Have you ever noticed that war veterans come back, having lost a leg, and they can end up doing marathons? Blind people do triathlon. People with diseases choose not to accept the diagnosis as a prognosis, and even if it hurts, it's hard, and it gets resistance from everyone around them who would say much more easily, let me get that for you. Go ahead and sit down and rest, and I'll bring it to you. They do it anyway. They want to do it for themselves. You have that in you. I mean, people are not born with genetics that tell them, okay, this is who you are, and you are somebody who's going to have a problem doing things for yourself. We're not born like that. That's not a genetic trait. If you won't start, say, for 8 more weeks because you're going to retire then, and that's when you're going to start, there's a good chance that you won't. You won't treat it like a job then either. You treat it like it's optional now. You won't start treating it like it's not optional, just all of a sudden flip the switch. If it's something that could save your life, or at least put years in your life, you've got to decide it right now. And then when you're busy and stressed and can't sleep, it's actually more important that you get started during this time, because guess what? Guess what's having a heyday? Disease, inflammation. They're not taking a break. They are actually thriving. This is like, here we go, fertilizer. We've got a little stress. She's not eating well. She's not sleeping. She's just, thinking trash thoughts. That's when disease is planting seeds. And those seeds are there. You may be able to positively reverse some things, but if disease is there, you're feeding it. We all have cancerous cells within us. They don't have to express themselves. So you've got to be careful with what you're doing when you're under the biggest pieces of stress in your life. Picking and choosing, I'm going to do this in moderation. Bullshit. This is 2019, honey. This is not 1979. That flew out the window a long time ago. So I want you to admit that if you're not willing to give up the wine, if you're not willing to say, okay, I want change, I want to lose weight, I have belly fat, it's probably visceral belly fat that is tied to heart disease, cancer risk, and many other diseases, as well as just making me feel less confident about myself. If you're not willing to say, I'm going to give that up, I want you to say, I am willing to let disease just kind of roll the dice with me, no matter what. So that's a hard statement. I don't think anybody would be able to say it. And I'm playing with you a little bit. I'm teasing you and I'm being challenging with you because I think if you're here and you're still listening, there's a chance that there are crickets out there. I know. That's a reality. And yeah, we don't say that out loud. We just think, well, I'm busy, so I didn't exercise today, so that's okay, right? We let ourselves off the hook. We don't think of this yet. We're getting better, we're getting closer, but not yet. But it's never going to be convenient. Not even when you retire, not even when you're on vacation. Most people will throw caution to the wind when they're on vacation and say, no, I just treated myself, right? Well, guess what? Treating yourself well with good food, for some reason you have beliefs about that it's not going to taste good, that you're not going to feel good and not going to have more energy, and that your skin isn't going to be better, your eyes aren't going to be brighter, you're not going to be in a better mood. I mean, really, where'd that come from? Because you're not reading or listening to anything that's being published. Even if there are some false truths in it, even the bad information out there mostly gets that right. You're going to feel better. Nobody regrets a meal where they've eaten really well and it's tasted really good. Nobody regrets a great night's sleep. Nobody regrets a good workout, even if it had to be short, and fitting it in and saying to yourself, this is who I am. This is what I do. You'll be retired, you'll be free, and you'll want to enjoy it, and that's why you won't do it. Not if it's not already a habit. The devil you do know is better than the devil you don't. Did that sink in? Right? So it's really silly to talk about time, which is where inevitably this conversation almost always goes, and it goes first. When somebody says, I don't have time to exercise, or I don't have time to work out, blogs and articles go to how long does it really take, right? How quickly you can really work out, like the 15-minute workout or the 7-minute or the 4-minute workout. I mean, if you right now Googled those and just don't go right to the article, go to the number of people and the number of responses that you can possibly get if you Googled 7-minute workout, 4-minute workout, 15-minute workout, any one of them or all of them. The number of them is phenomenal, in the millions, multi-millions, because that many people are searching. Those are things, information put out there by marketers who want to hook you, right? And some of them potentially may help, maybe better than nothing, right? But, they're no better than anything else if you don't do them. I will tell you that about 6 months ago, a little bit less, I was with a friend who was telling me and all about the 4-minute workout she had stumbled across, and this 4-minute thing that she could do daily. You don't have to change your clothes. You can do it a few times a day and get up, and it's really energizing. It changes your cells, and it's phenomenal. If you Google it, it'll probably come up, and you'll find a Dr. Zach, and I'm going to get his last name wrong, and Dr. Mercola. Both have little videos out there. But here's the deal. I am betting you, I would bet $100 right now, that if I called her up and say, are you doing that? How many times a day are you doing that? How's it working? That she didn't do it. And that's true of all of us, right? So the easiest, quickest fix in the world doesn't work if you don't do it, right? So it's really not time. It's an excuse to say we don't have time, because we all have the same amount of time. Some of us get it done, some of us don't. The President of the United States, and I don't care what you think of him, and, I don't know what the workout habits of Trump are, so maybe we won't go there. But in terms of many of our past presidents, found time to work out. In fact, it was required practically, right, for the energy that they needed. And we all know Michelle Obama, recent past, right, president's wife, was huge in terms of promotion. But we know the president, found time to exercise. So you can find time to exercise if you want to. You have time, you're just spending it somewhere else. You're choosing to spend it somewhere else, even though you're feeling like, no, I have this job, it's overrunning my life. But I've got to tell you, I talk to, teachers, and I know teachers are overwhelmed, whether they're at the university level, they're at the high school level, they're at the elementary level, and probably, among our underpaid. But you can't go, into that conversation. You've got to just think about, the reason you're giving, the excuse you're giving for not exercising is the reason you should be, right? You have to make time for it, whether it's a few minutes in the morning, it's in the afternoon, the evening, or you take advantage of your weekend. You'll continue to follow that vicious circle of, well, no, I don't want to do this on the weekends. I don't want to prepare food that's healthy for me on the weekends because it takes my whole day. It should take about an hour, really. Come on. You've got to go to the grocery store anyway. You got to get toilet paper and toothpaste and soap. So I know you can pick up some veggies, some items for soup already chopped, dump them into a pot, a crock pot or an Instant Pot, and let them cook themselves. That takes minutes. And so, I have a really hard time with anybody who is really telling me, they want these results, but they don't have time. It's craziness. And I'm not getting in there with you. I'm just not. So if you want to do something, you do have time. You find the time to do it. The real answer to, how much time does it take? In 10 minutes twice a week, you can do a strength training workout. In an hour a week, you can prepare 3 main courses and a couple of sides. So you stop eating out, which is more fat, probably the wrong kind of fat, more salt and more sugar than you ever want. If not, more processed foods and artificial chemicals. You choose not to do this. It's an excuse. You're going to use it, call it what it is and decide you don't want this bad enough. So I'm going to say that again. If you are going to use, not having time as your excuse, call it what it is and really decide, say it out loud, that you don't want this bad enough. Whatever this is, more energy, healthy weight, feeling sexy and vibrant, or not dying, right? You get those blood tests back and it's an eye-opener, a wake-up call for you that you've got to get serious about this. Don't forget that that's a negative, that's running from fear. But while you fix that, it's a 2-for-1. You get to feel good every day. The side effects of exercise and eating well are that you feel good. You feel like you are more alive. It's not like the negative side effects of feeling dizzy or you're getting sick to your stomach or weight gain or weight loss resistance that happens with many medications. They all have a negative side effect. There's something much deeper than not having time or wanting to get out of your comfort zone. It's not easier for everyone else. It's not. A vacation is not a trash your body experience for someone who loves herself. So what's up with that? Right? You really don't want it. You do hard things in certain areas, but not others. That could be it. And that could be it. So you don't have any ability, any bandwidth right now to do more, to make more changes, because you're doing a lot of hard things right now as it is. That potentially is legitimate. You know, doing some really hard things, being in really hard times of stress, we only have so much willpower, and I'm an advocate for not using willpower by setting perfect habits, great habits in place. So you have systems, just like a business, yours are habits for healthcare, that make it easier for you to do the right thing and hard to do the wrong thing. However, if you're trying to change a habit, it does take a little willpower for a little while, a little discipline for a little while, and you may be using up all your willpower. That I get. That's okay. I get it, but don't trash yourself. You don't have to go to the opposite and total other extreme. Don't decide, well, I can't work out right now, and then say, okay, well, I'm going to go out and eat 4 times out and get dessert every time. Don't stay up late and do something so wasted like cruise the internet. How does that make you feel better? If you want to call a friend, try the phone, right? You don't connect with your friends online, really? I mean, how does that make you feel better? Don't resign to an inability to sleep and then drink wine every night and pass it off as light drinking instead of addiction, whether the alcohol or the sugar. An every evening cocktail ritual is probably not your longevity's best friend. Or if you've got a weight loss goal or struggle with sleep, there's so many ways that this complicates your health. Inflammation, insulin, influencing your choices. I don't have time to work out. In the face of things like this, turns into I don't have energy to work out, really, right? If you're making poor choices, you do have the time, but everything you are doing takes more time because you have no energy and you probably have no focus. You have brain fog. When you stay up way too late, you're already way too stressed. Of course, you don't have energy to work out. You don't have energy to get through the day. I don't have time to work out, right. And no one, girlfriend, is going to give you permission or should have to give you permission to delay dinner by 30 minutes if you can't exercise in the morning. You have time. You just don't really want to have to use it. So get real with yourself. Nobody else has to hear this conversation, but you've got to have some straight talk with yourself. So let me get into this. And here we are at 28:10 in the podcast. How much time does it really take to work out? I'll tell you. So the real answer to this is, how much time do you think it takes? First of all, let me ask you that. Because you've been conditioned your whole life, your whole adult life, going to hour-long classes or told you have to do cardio at least 20 minutes or up to 60 minutes to get benefits. That, in fact, was the window. You should do cardiovascular activity 3 to 5 times a week for 20 to 60 minutes, as if you did it less than 20, it didn't count. Totally nothing, right? Not true. But, that was the window we were given. You've been told that the more time you do, the more results you'll get. It's just not true. You've assumed that a weight training workout is like that too. That I know because I'm too often asked, how long should I lift weights? And that question, it's a question that doesn't even make sense. And I'm sensitive to the fact that what I just said might sound condescending, and it's not meant to, because you're not to blame if you have that question. You've just been given the wrong impression. Time has so little to do with effectiveness. All right, use this analogy. You've got 2 kids, maybe you literally have 2 kids, who do the same math homework, right? One gets it done correctly in 10 minutes, goes out to play. The other takes 40 minutes to get it done and has fewer right answers. Not all right. So is the question about how long a kid should spend on math? It's about getting to the right answer. So for strength training, and that is, by the way, the fastest way to get the most fit in the least amount of time. And it's the fastest way in terms of weeks and months to see a long-term change in your body and your health. It's the least amount of time you can put into exercise to get the most benefits. I'll link to some other blog only and podcast episodes where I've shared the biggest benefits of strength training. I'm not going to go into that right now. And if you're completely crunched for time, you can get a full body workout in about 10 minutes, a strength training workout, twice a week. That's what you need to see optimal results. In fact, if you do 3 times, you may get fewer results. If you do 1 time, you won't get enough stimulus. Provided you have good form, you use the right exercises, and you reach fatigue according to your beginner or your advanced status, and you will have stimulated your muscles enough to change. That's getting to the right answer in less time. If you have 30 to 40 minutes twice a week, will you get more benefit? Yes. You'll be able to use additional muscles and use more movements, but you're going to be busy, right? I mean, let's face it. So even women who aren't tied up with a job, a family, a commute, they make themselves busy. We just do that. We all perceive ourselves as having things to do, or we do. We volunteer, we care for others, we get involved with friends, and that's all good. You're going to need those short alternatives too. Mentally, you've got to stop thinking of them as a waste of time or not worth it. 10 or 30 to 40 minutes twice a week can change your life, your longevity, your mood, brain health, bone, muscle, disease risk, and the expression of genes associated with aging. Yes, you can reverse aging. Or you can complain you don't have time now and suffer later. And really suffer now as well. At some point, something may make you sick and be your cause of death. Yeah, and this podcast is going downhill really fast, right? The length of that sickness at the end of our lives is in our control. You control it. You may slip away in a deep sleep. You may get lucky. But the problem is we never know. The quality of your life between now and when you know the answer to that stands to benefit or deteriorate based on what you do every day. I don't know the answer to, what is more important to you. But that's a question you have to ask when you say you don't have time. Somewhere in the cycle of your 24 hours, you have time you're choosing to spend in another way that is getting in your way of having either time or energy realistically for exercise. I'm going to link to strength training resources in the show notes here. There are dozens of options in my YouTube channel that you can watch. If you want support beyond, though, that random 5 minutes for consistent progressive exercise, the Stronger 12-Week program is open right now while I'm recording this podcast, and it opens a few times a year. It's 12 weeks for a reason. It takes 66 days to make a habit change. And I've guaranteed in this program that I'll have you beyond that 66 days. I want you hooked in a regular habit, feeling good so you don't want to stop. I promise you that if you lift weights consistently twice a week for 12 weeks, you will have more energy and it will give you back time. People who exercise will tell you it doesn't take more time, it actually gives them back more time because they're more productive, they're more creative, they're better at problem solving, they have more clarity, they're in a better mood. That all gives us the perception that we have more time to do the things that we want to. And we have a higher quality of life while we're doing it. All right, I am totally ready for comments to come straight at me right now. If you've got a question and you'd like to submit it, leave it below the show link at flipping50.com/time. And join us on the Flipping 50 TV Facebook page if you're not already there, and to get all the juicy resources and the links that I mentioned to all of the strength training options in the show notes, visit today's episode. And again, it's flipping50.com/time. And if you enjoyed this show or you have a strong opinion about it, please leave a rating in iTunes. It really helps. And then share this with a friend to surround yourself with a supportive community of women on the same journey. What are you waiting for? Start Flipping 50 today.